Okay, this is my second time recording this because my big fat head covered what I was trying to show you the first time around. Anyway, hopefully I'm a bit more rehearsed this time, but over the past couple of days I've seen some people talking about the updated Siri on iPadOS because the way you invoke it is you go to the top of your screen and you drag down, and then there's this cool like fluid animation, which I'll just show you here, although I need to mute this because last time I also forgot to mute YouTube Shorts. I just turned down the volume on my computer and then I forgot OBS doesn't care about that. Here we go. Okay, so like this animation, see how it's like fluid and it looks like it's trying to like stick to the top of the screen? Well, I've seen some people talking about this because it's a really cool effect. And it reminded me of like a quick website I built last year because I learned about this thing called meta balls, which I'll pull up here. It's like this just really simple and cool graphics technique that makes basically exactly what you just saw. These balls that when they get close to each other, they start to morph into one each other and they look really cool and fluid and satisfying. And I mean, this article mainly talks about 3D ones, but the concepts are basically the same for 2D ones. And it's such a cool effect that I had originally assumed it would be difficult to implement, or at least for somebody who has literally no computer graphics experience beyond like the very basics. I thought it would be difficult, but it turns out to actually be really easy. And this is where I need to move my big fat head. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so basically I built this simple website that lets you adjust a bunch of parameters to really figure out how these things work. And basically at the core of it all are gradients. So here we've got a couple of circles, and the center part of the circle, that solid part that all looks the same color, is wait, I know I said I wish I would sound more, I hope I was going to sound more rehearsed here, but I'm kind of not. Okay, well, basically the idea here is you've got these gradients on the screen, and then when I check this this box down here, it enables a shader that just goes through all of the pixels and it checks their alpha values, so their transparency. If those values meet a specific threshold, so right now it's set to 200. If they are at least that opaque, it updates them to be fully opaque. It increases the alpha value of that pixel to be 255. If it doesn't meet that threshold, then it makes it fully transparent. It changes its alpha value to 0. So you can see here when we don't have that effect enabled and we just have these gradients, actually let me increase this so you can see the effect. When they get close to each other, you see this outer part, the outer ring of the circles, it becomes gradually more and more transparent until it's fully transparent. So on its own, these rings, they're transparent enough that the shader makes them fully transparent when we enable the shader. But when they overlap, these pixels, their alpha values start to add up, and gradually they become opaque enough that these pixels are made fully opaque by the shader. So you can kind of see here, I'm pointing with my finger. You can't see where I'm pointing, but when they get close enough, you can kind of see the parts that the shader the shader ends up making fully opaque. You can kind of see how the effect works just by dragging these together. You just want to pay attention to the overlapping pixels and the areas that are made even darker. Like, oh, how can here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a screenshot and then I should be able to draw on that. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you can kind of see, wait, how do I do this? Oh no, I don't want to save that. I forgot about that. Well, I still kind of forgot about it in the sense that I don't remember what that's for, but I remember drawing that cat. That's not the button I wanted. How do oh, edit. There we go. Okay. Is this a pen? Okay. So you can kind of see right here a particularly dark spot. where these outer gradients are overlapping. Those are the parts that the shader is going to go through and be like, okay, you're opaque enough that I'm going to make you fully opaque. But these parts all out here are still too transparent, and so the shader makes them fully transparent. So like, do you kind of get the gist here? It literally is as simple as that. We've just got those two gradients moving around the screen, but when we apply the shader, it makes it look like this. And we can add in a third one, and then they interact in these cool ways. It just looks so fluid. But if you decrease the threshold, they kind of look really weird. I remember when I was building this website, I saw another website that had some like interactive meta balls on a canvas, and which, by the way, that name is kind of unfortunate. Meta balls. It sounds like Mark Zuckerberg's testicles. So, but the way they did it was they calculated, they did some sort of calculation to figure out how to draw the curves between the meta balls, so it was like a really sharp and pleasant looking thing, but it was a lot more complicated than just something like this. It was their implementation was also a lot more efficient, I'm sure, because this one, it's going through and scanning every pixel on the screen. There are no optimizations here, but still you get this really cool, convincingly fluid effect with some, I mean, really simple logic. It's not hard to do at all, and I think that's pretty cool.